out and having a fag and like having a drink, and she's never at home. It's the one who had the horse in the house.
Sure.
Right? Which I don't want to go over.
Sure. It's old news.
It's out there, isn't it? If you want to find out about the horse in the house. But she had a kid, and everyone was pretty surprised when they saw it because it was a good-looking kid.
Yeah.
She was surprised because, like, you know, the man wasn't that good-looking, the dad was a bit rough. But it came out, and she was showing it around the avenue, going, "Look at this I've had." And she was chuffed with it because it's probably like one of the newest things she's ever had, because everything else was always sort of second down and what have you. But suddenly she's got this brand new little baby, right? Anyway, as it grew up, right, those looks went. And I'm not talking getting old, I'm talking by the age of about 3. It looked rough already, right? And all that just happened because that's the life it was in, right?
Yeah.
So like it had like a patchy head. Its hair.
It had a patchy head.
A patchy head. It's just sort of.
It wasn't a North American Indian. What do you mean, a patchy head?
Just his hair was patchy. He used to chase sort of cars and stuff.
Chase cars? Sorry! What do you mean?
That's what he did for his...
Sorry, did she let it get raised by wolves?
No. but all I'm saying is that at the end of the day, what is it that makes a person? Do you know what I mean? Now, I don't know what state he's in now, but maybe he learned all his mistakes by the age of 4. I'm guessing he's not chasing cars now. But at least he's done it.
I'm guessing he is. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? At least you can go, yeah, I've been there, done that, and you don't go back to it, and you can get away with doing dafter things when you're a kid, can't you? I nearly killed a man once, right?
Okay, right.
Well, that time when I was in Wales, and I was having a walk with my dad on the cliffs and that, and I just picked up a big rock, right? Chucked it off the edge, and as I chucked it off the edge, I noticed the fellow was walking down below.
Jeez.
And I missed his head by like inches. Now, I've never chucked a rock off a bridge or like off a cliff or anything.
And it only took one man to almost lose his life for you to learn that lesson.
Yeah, but that's how you learn your lessons, isn't it?
See, a lot of people would have said that maybe your dad should have said, "Hey, Carl, what are you doing?"
No, but he didn't know I was doing it. I didn't say I'm going to chuck this off there. I just picked it up and chucked it. And like, as I let go of it, I noticed a fellow was down there. You live and you learn. That's a little mantra.
Right.
You live and you learn. So the woman who's had the kid, sort of look after it, feed it, make sure it's got shoes and that, but let it roam about.
That's great. There's the advice for you, Anne-Marie. I love that. Good luck. Just let your 7-month-old baby roam about.
Hey, fool! Don't give me no back chat, sucker. I ain't here to mess with you. I ain't getting in no plane. I'm here to tell you all about Friday Night Comedy on Channel 4. There's 3 great new comedies. New Green Wing, Yeah Fool, that's nearly ready. My Name is Earl, and the Father Ted, sucker. Friday Night Comedy this Friday on Channel 4, fool. Switch it on, or I'll be around your house. You stay up all night shivering, cause you be so mad scared. Fool.
Carl, a lot of people are absolutely fascinated to find out how you met Suzanne, your girlfriend of how long?
Ages.
Yeah. And they can't comprehend how, well, I suppose that there's any woman out there.
Well, there's someone for everyone, isn't there?
Yeah.
That's always my thing. And it's reassuring, I think. You know, we've chatted about the face transplants and that. You know, there's a face for everyone.
It's philosophy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, it's really unbelievable.
No, there is someone for everyone, no matter what condition you're in or whatever.
Yeah.
Because I read on the email, someone emailed in an old Chinese proverb.
Is it old though? You know the Chinese proverbs don't age well.
It's something about everyone, everything, no matter what it is, has got one talent, right? And that's the same way in a relationship, isn't it? That everyone, you know, there's always someone out there, and that. I like the Chinese. There's another Chinese proverb that I learned on an email.
Go on.
He who cuts the wood up warms himself twice.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good.
Yeah.
And then someone sent in that one about too many Chinese cooks spoil the broth.
Why that's I don't know who slipped the word Chinese in there, but I heard it was too many cooks.
Well, it was just all sort of Chinese proverbs and that.
One of my favourite on the same subject is a camel is a horse designed by committee.
What do you mean?
Well, it's having a go at the camel, and it shouldn't. But it's just, it's just a metaphor. And if you wanted to design a horse and you had that vision, but you let 12 people in the room have their say, it wouldn't come out as you wanted it to do, and it wouldn't be as good. A vision is more perfect than committee, because everyone having their say, it becomes anodyne, it becomes compromised. Whereas the best things you can do is have an idea and have a vision and auteur that.
Rick, can I just say now, I can tell from his look that he's thinking, which committee designed the camel?
Well, I'd say, why would you request the ump bit? Because that's just going to get in the way, isn't it? I've always said that about a lot of animals. It's like we've doubled up on a lot of them. We've chatted about elephants and mammoths, one or the other. And that's the same with a camel. I'd have that up there as what they're doing. They were good years ago in the Jesus times and that. Don't need them now. You know what I mean? We've moved on.
Well, not people who use camels to cross deserts.
I'm going to throw some animals at you, and you tell how you'd have improved them if you'd have been designing them. Okay?
The octopus.
So I can now go back. I can look at them and go, what are they doing?
And where have they gone wrong? What's up with it? How could you improve it? Like the camel, you go lose the ump.
I'd probably give it a bit more of a body. Cut down on the arms. And give it some bones, because I don't understand all this. It getting in a jar is good. When does it want to get in a jar? It says.
Well, it only wants to get in a jar according to your stories.
No, but there's something that says it can get in a jar because it hasn't got any bones. But I don't know why it'd want to do that in the first place.
I can't even begin to answer that. Once again, you've claimed that you've read that they like to get in jars. I mean, how do they know that octopus like to get in jars?
Oh God, you can improve an octopus. Millions and millions of years of evolution, making it perfect for its surroundings. Okay, another animal for you then, Carl.
Giraffe.
What are they adding to the world? What are they doing?
Well, it's not about what they add to the world,
No, but
is
I thought that's what everything's about. It's about things are here for a reason.
No, because they work. The only reason is that they survived. They passed on their genetic material and evolved and was chosen by nature. It was selected.
But there seems to be a lot.
The reason they're here is because they didn't die. That's it.
No, but there seem to be a lot of animals that are like.
Do you think there's a lot of cheating? Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying there just seems to be a lot of doubling up.
Yeah. So you get it down to like 8 animals that represented all of it. Okay, who would get in your team? You can choose 8 animals.
This is what I'm saying. If I was Noah, I would have gone like, hang on a minute. I've just seen something that looks a bit like this. Let it drown and have a clear out. But he didn't. He was messing about saving everything.
He was instructed by God to save everything, compared to him.
Yeah, but if he's been given that job, for me, he's sort of manager of that job.
So you believe Noah as well? You believe Noah happened as well, and he built a boat big enough to catch 2 of every species. You actually believe that as fact, do you?
Well, it's out there in book form.
Brilliant.
Alright.
We haven't answered the question that we started with. How did you meet Suzanne?
Just that word.
Thanks.
Oh, chimpanzee, that monkey!
There was this airline, and it's having a lot of problems, and a lot of
pilots too tall?
Yeah, the cabin was so tiny.
Only bananas were allowed in the cockpit for fuel.
Anyway, there was a lot of strikes going on, right?
Sure.
Because I don't know what it was about. It was over money or whatever.
Yes.
And
get something that doesn't need money.
Yeah, but
what else could you pay something in?
Well,
Rick, can we
peanuts.
Okay, peanuts or fruit. Yeah.
So anyway, the boss of the airline, he had like one pilot who he could trust, right? And that was his son.
Right.
But the problem is with a lot of these planes, you need 2 pilots.
Of course you do.
And he was like, if only I had 2 sons, but he didn't. There's no point harping on about it. Right?
Sure.
He runs an airline.
He runs an airline, yeah.
But how many pilots are there? Because there must be loads.
No, there's loads, but the problem is a lot of them are going on strike.
Oh.
And each week you can see that we're struggling here.
But how can they get? But it was just the pilots that were striking, was it?
Yeah, the pilots were striking, yeah.
So all the ground staff and
luggage handlers and all that was okay in the care?
They were
control?
fine. It's just pilots
Right.
were not happy with the deal and what have you.
Yeah.
Well, just close it down.
No way, can't do that.
No,
Ricky.
I can't.
Of course you
It's
can't.
costing him a
Right.
fortune if he closes it down.
Yeah, but what one plane's not going to make a difference in an airline, is it?
No, it's all the
It's all the
planes.
planes, mate.
Yeah, no, exactly. So if he's only got one person he can trust, knock it on the head.
No. What's the point? You've got to keep going. You can't just nip stuff in the bud like that. If you got a dream, keep it alive.
I know, but not with one plane and your son.
So anyway,
I don't know.
But that's the least of his problems, Rick, because he's got his son who's a brilliant pilot. He's the only guy he can trust. But it takes two people to fly.
Well, you can't fly it then.
So the son, he's flying the planes and that. He's getting worried for his dad because of his business. It's falling
Sure.
apart. He's like, anyway, listen,
Well, one plane won't make any difference.
don't worry about it. We've found someone who you can work with.
Okay.
And he's like, but I get past the picket line because they know I'm your son anyway, and they'll leave me alone. But any other pilot, worry about it.
Unless he could swing over the heads of all the strikers.
He said he's staying over near the sort of quarantine area where
Oh.
all the animals are kept
Oh,
and
yeah,
stuff.
right, okay.
They won't be looking in there. They won't bother.
No.
So he's like, all right.
There's no animal that could be a co-pilot, that's why.
I'll see you. He'll meet up with you in the cockpit.
He'll be having the cockpit, yeah, sure.
So anyway, he gets in there. He meets them. At first, a little bit of a shock who he's going to be working with. But
Why?
he's thinking, as long as I can keep my dad's business alive, I can
Not
keep
with
a
one
job.
plane. Not
So
with one plane.
anyway, what happens is the strike's going on. He's flying. He's
Yeah.
got his mate with him flying, helping out.
Who's his mate? What's his
The
mate's name?
flights are brilliant. Like, everybody's loving them. They can't believe how smooth they are.
Sure.
The shares are going through the roof. Everybody's like wanting to fly.
This one plane they've got.
That wouldn't make any difference.
Everyone's saying, it's only a small plane, but it's worth getting on there.
And
if
it's
you
a
can.
small plane as
because it's a great
Oh,
experience.
gone under, I'd have thought. There's
So
no
anyway-
way they can keep that alive.
Apparently they can.
So they're keeping
Yeah.
this plane up in the air and what have you, and everybody's booking the holidays. It's almost like the favourite bit of the holiday. They're loving the flights that much.
Why?
Because it's really good flights.
Just
I
a
don't
great
understand
flight.
what
Apparently
difference
it's a great flight.
it makes.
It's
I don't
dynamite.
So
understand
anyway,
what difference it makes.
Everyone's happy. Then one day, what happens is a little bit of a problem.
Oh dear. You're not going to tell us that sort of co-pilot Coco he's not able to make it to work, is he?
Well, what happened is one woman who was on the plane got a bit peckish,
Right.
and said to the air hostess woman, said, "I'm a little bit peckish. Have you got any sort of nibbles and that?" She went, "No, I've got a sandwich." She said, "I don't really want a sandwich. I want something, like the usual stuff that planes give out, just like a bag of nuts or something."
bag of
Well, have they not given those out yet?
So no, they don't give it for some reason. She was like, "Look, we've stopped giving out the nuts. We can get you
That's
a sandwich."
strange,
And the woman's
yeah.
like, "I don't want a sandwich. I just want some nuts." Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah,
A sandwich is quite a big meal. And what have you. I just want some nibbles, want some nuts.
Well, that's not available. Done. End of story.
Can't get your nuts. She said, "Well, why aren't there any nuts?" She said, "Well, the airlines had problems and stuff, and maybe that was one of the cutbacks. We've never took the nuts back on."
Yeah, sure.
So she wouldn't just leave it. She wanted a nuts, right? She's having a lovely flight and everything. She said, "I cannot complain about the flight. The
No,
flight
sure.
is brilliant.
Yeah.
Whoever's up there flying this plane is doing a
She's
dynamite
doing a
job.
great job, but I need some nuts."
Right.
Anyway, so the woman
There
said,
aren't any.
"There aren't
Very
any nuts."
demanding woman.
There aren't any.
It's a very demanding woman.
There aren't any.
Look, she's paid big money, right? She's probably in first class. She wants nuts, she's going to get
Nah,
nuts.
there aren't any. Leave it.
If she has to force her way into the cabin to get nuts, she's going to
Well,
get
she
nuts.
can't go there because she will be shot. Because
So-
with security problems and that, there's no way she could ever go to the cockpit. That would never happen.
So she said, "Well, you're saying there aren't any nuts." She said, "But earlier I saw you put a tray outside the cockpit, right? It had a sandwich on it, 2 Cokes and 2 bags of nuts."
Right.
She said, "So you're saying there aren't any, but the pilot's getting
Well,
them."
aren't they now? That was the last 2 packets. Done.
No.
Let's go
So
home.
she's going, "You can't have any." No.
We know,
She's
we
going-
understand that there's a dispute over
So
that.
she said, "Well, I'll go and have a word with the pilot myself because you only put them out there a few minutes ago. He can't have eaten them
can't.
yet. I want
You say
some.
you
I'm
cannot
going
go-
over.
no.
I know this is it.
Yeah.
She was saying you cannot go over. She's going,
No.
"Listen,
Yeah.
I'm going to go over because I
No,
feel
no,
like
you
I'm being
can't.
lied to."
No, you can't.
So she goes, starts,
No,
and
there's
the
no way.
pilot can
Well,
hear
they
all
can't
this
get in anyway.
chat about the nuts and what have you, and he's thinking, "What's going on out there?"
Yeah.
He opens the door. right?
Yeah.
She gets a glance in. Little monkey sat there with headphones.
Fucking bollocks. Well, that's the end of another podcast. Do register on rickygervais.com. We'll be able to email you and tell you what's happening when we finish this run of podcasts. We might have some downloads. At the moment, we're working on animating all the monkey newses. So look forward to that. The absolute bullshit that is monkey news in all its glory. This was hosted by Positive Internet.
Great guys.
The great guys that host the world's #1 podcast. Cheerio from me, Ricky Gervais, and Steve Merchant.
Goodbye.
And Carl Pilkington.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited. The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Hello, welcome to the 10th podcast in a series of 12. Ricky Gervais Show with me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant.
Hello.
And, of course, Carl Pilkington.
Right.
Now, thanks for all your emails. We've really started a community here, I think.
Yes.
We're all brought together by one aim. The fascination of the brain of Carl Pilkington, basically.
Yes, absolutely. There's thousands of people who are equally as obsessed as we are with it.
I really don't know why it's called the Ricky Gervais Show anymore. I mean, I was cynical at the beginning, but it's farcical. Welcome to the Carl Pilkington Show.
Well, people say they'd like to hear more from you and I, but I don't see why when you've got
do you know
this
what I feel
in
like?
the room.
I feel like the ringmaster, but the real star is the shaved monkey in a jar that we
Yes,
bring out. Do you know what I
exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
That's it. That's the star of the show. You know.
Yeah.
Well, we've had loads of emails actually, and we've had one from Nige, who's done this brilliant cartoon of Carl on the beach. I think we should sell those as postcards. But someone's beaten us to selling merchandise. If you go to www.cafepress.com/Mr. Pilkington, someone is selling everything with Carl Pilkington's head on it. Now these are bootleg goods, we're not making any money from it, but I'm strangely proud. I just love to see millions of people wearing a little t-shirt or a baseball cap or drinking out of a mug with his little round head on it. He's made a clock which is perfect because it fits absolutely, you know what I mean, the sides of the head go right to the edge of the clock because it's perfectly
I'd like
round.
to see maybe as well those sort of rubber or plastic face masks that you can buy for Halloween with just Carl's face.
Oh, just millions of people
Yeah.
all look like Carl. Oh, that would be amazing. What a world that would be.
Cheers for that, love. Yeah, it's Carl Pilkington here. Just telling you about Channel 4 on a Friday. You've got new Green Wing, right? That's nearly ready. My Name is Earl, and the It Crowd. I mean, sort of being in the comedy business and that, I think it's fair to say I'm qualified to give my opinion, and these three things are funny, so yeah, stay in, watch it, have a good night, have a nice little brew with it, do what you want. At the end of the day, it's your life, innit? See it.
Carl Pilkington!
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Still to come, of course, Monkey News and Carl's Diary, excerpts thereof. I wonder if we should have a jingle for questions for Carl, because there's a lot of questions coming in for Carl.
Okay.
Oh, chimpanzee, that question's for Carl.
Yeah, okay, no, fair enough, that works. This is from Jim and Bob in Manchester. Carl, if you could talk to any animal, which one would it be and what would you say to it?
Insect, animal, anything, fish, anything.
Well, they said animal, but that's broad out to anything.
Animal,
creature.
insect is an animal.
Yeah, no, but I'm just, I don't want to get it wrong. I'm just thinking about,
Yeah.
there's a lot of stuff out there, isn't there? I'd probably go for the tortoise.
Okay.
Because it would take a long time to walk away from you while you were talking.
No, just because
Most animals would be off straight away.
Yeah.
just because they live for ages, so they'll have loads of stories. They've lived through a lot. You know what I mean? Through wars and stuff. If you get
Well-
an old one, if you get like an old one, that's about 100
Most of them have lived in a box in a garden for 52 years.
No, but you get some that have been about, and even if it's in a box,
Oh yeah,
you can overhear.
they've really travelled, have they?
I mean,
Some of them have experienced more than you.
Yeah.
But they've broadened their horizons a bit more than you. They could probably teach you a thing or two, yeah.
And what would you hope to learn from them?
just history.
Right. From their very specific tortoise perspective. Other emails. We've had a lot of questions about time travel. People are fascinated about your approach to time travel. And I know we've talked about this in the past, but this is a very specific time travel question. If you had a time machine, Carl, to what event in your childhood would you travel back to and why?
What's the point in going back to things that you thought? No, it's just that it's never as good, is it? It's like a place you go on holiday, and you go back thinking it'll be as good as the first time. It never is. So I don't believe in going back to places.
What
and all that.
do you understand the question as? Do you think they're asking? Would you go back like a ghost and spy? Would you go back and you've got your childhood back? You are that child again. You're in the body. You are the child, or you've got your adult head and experiences. On, you could.
Rick, I really don't think Carl was thinking there was any of those variations. Let's be honest. But now that you've flagged
I
them
think he was thinking of him as he is now in school with a cap on.
yeah.
But
Too big for the chairs.
yeah. Come on.
No, I don't think I would go back. It's all happened now, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's an email to a podcast for our own amusement.
Well, okay. Well,
choose an event. Okay, forget the time travel thing.
hang on. I think let's clarify one of Ricky's points. What if you could go back and you could live that moment again? How would you do it differently?
There's been times where I've gone, oh, that was a bit out of order or whatever, but then you learn from your mistakes, don't you? So I don't want to go back and change stuff, because it's like that thing that they go on about, innit, where they blame the butterfly on an earthquake. You know, it's going to happen. If it wasn't that butterfly, it's another one. So why pass the buck, is what I'm saying.
So you've got no regrets. There's nothing in your past you'd want to change or do differently?
What about if you went back and you spied like a ghost on something? You couldn't change anything, but you could have a look at someone and just sort of look like like Ebenezer Scrooge does with the Ghost of Christmas Past. He goes back and he's sort of like looking at himself dancing and stuff. Or what would you do? What would you go back and have a look at?
Yeah, but you're asking me to change. I don't want to change.
You're not changing. You're just observing.
It's impossible.
All right,
this question, this is it's not going to happen. You're not going to have to do this. It's impossible.
Right, yeah, I nearly died once, didn't I? On an ice pop.
Right.
Right. Now, maybe if I would have died, I'd say, well, let's go back to that, and I won't have an ice pop.
You wouldn't be doing the podcast if you'd have died. You wouldn't be having this email put to you. What are you?
That's absurd. You're now saying you're rewriting history and then going back to change it.
Yeah.
There's no need. You didn't die.
And we've changed it. You can't change anything. You're just going to go back and watch them. Would you like to go back and watch yourself choking on a Mr. Freeze?
No, that's what I'm saying. That's why I wouldn't go back now, because I'm alright. I haven't had one since. I've learnt a lesson. I'm not missing them ice pops. So
I don't think you're making the most of this opportunity to fantasise.
I don't see the point in going back in anything. I mean, do you mean go back in time to the point of you can see like Rome in its working day?
What, in your childhood? Was Rome about when in your childhood? Were there gladiators in your childhood? Well, that's what I'm
saying. Everything I've been through, so why see it again?
Forget it. It was just a nice little question.
I mean, that shows the lack of imagination in Carl Pilkington. Your mind can't fathom something unless it's like, you know, got two heads.
But I don't see the point in doing something twice. Because the thing is, say if there's one good moment when I was about 6 that I loved, I'd then have to go through all the other 20 years. Again.
Well, why? Why have you imposed that? It's a fantasy. Make it up.
You can go back and come back again.
Yeah, whiz back and fast forward 35 years.
Nah.
Brilliant. No. Like it was on offer. Like this was really on offer. Move on.
Migrant workers in South China are wearing adult diapers on packed trains heading home for the New Year holiday because they've got no access to the toilet. Many supermarkets in this particular part of China have reported a 50% increase in sales of adult nappies for the train trips. Now what do you make of that, Carl? You're on a long, long train journey, 3 hours, 4 hours.
You know there's no toilet, you know you're going to need to go. Pop on her.
Why isn't there any toilets?
They just aren't on the trains.
And they're a really long journey.
Yeah.
How long?
Hours.
Well, very long in China, it's a big country.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't do it. I'd have to hold it in or something. Just like, I mean, when I was a young kid, I don't know how young you are when you wear a nappy and that, but I remember that I didn't like it, doing it in a pair of pants like that, a pair of nappies and that. And I used to have to, even when I was too small to sort of get up on the toilet and that, because you'd fall in. My mum knew that I didn't like nappies and that. I used to just go in the corner, just near the kitchen, in this thing that, like a litter tray. That cat's like that, but that's you know, that's the same sort of idea. And I'd go there, and I'd do my thing. And you know, my mum used to say, "Oh, he's going there. Don't look at him," and that, because it put me off. You know, like cats don't like being watched when they do it.
When they go in their litter tray in the kitchen.
No, they don't. They don't like it. I tested it.
What are you, just like a little feral kid, just running around and going to the litter tray, covering it up, and then running up the curtain and eating a sweet at the top of the pelmet?
No, but nobody likes being watched, and that's what I'm saying. If you're sat on a train and you're knocking one out and that, and everyone's looking at you, I don't think it'll catch on.
Well, it has caught on.
They're
all doing it. They're just sitting there. They're doing, you know, they're reading the paper, doing Sudoku, and they're looking round when they're going. They're thinking, oh, no one knows I'm going. Everyone's thinking that, and everyone's going.
I mean, it's partly because there are 120 million peasants from China's vast rural areas who swarm into the cities for work, and so, you know, that sheer number of people means that the trains are so overcrowded.
I just don't. I mean, what are we getting to? You know what I mean? What's going on in the world that this is happening?
I know.
I mean, people have always had to travel for ages. I just don't understand why there isn't a toilet on it. We're going backwards. We're going backwards, aren't we? Why isn't there a toilet on it?
Well, maybe there is, but maybe people are thinking the queue is going to take forever. If you've got 125 million people
Yeah, but
going
not
back.
everybody wants to go at once. I mean, I know Chinese and all that are like at the forefront of everything that goes on in the world, inventing stuff first, but this isn't one of the best that they've come up with.
What have they invented then? The Chinese just
Loads of stuff, haven't they?
Yeah, well,
Loads
I
of stuff.
was asking. You seem quite educated on the subject. But
They did them cat mop things that I told you about.
brilliant.
I
This was where you put mops on the feet of cats, was that right?
Yeah, and they
Brilliant.
wander about the house, clean up and that, wash the floor for you whilst they're pottering about. They've done like hats with umbrellas on them. They've done. I mean, they're known for like coming up with stuff first.
Yeah, I mean, my first thought was gunpowder, but yeah, cats with mops is good as well.
Just a final mention of one of the emails that came through from Phil Hobby in Falmouth in USA. He says, "Hello chaps, just wanted to let you know that I was at a party on Friday and I bought 2 remixes of I Could Eat a Knob at Night on a CD. Let me tell you, I played them at the party. They were a huge success. They were a smash. By the end of the night, the party was hip to the words I Could Eat a Knob at Night. Half of them were even singing along. So big thanks to you, Ricky, Stephen, Carl. Now, what would be ideal, of course, I suppose, is one of the big superstar DJs, if they could drop that into their set. You know, a Carl Cox, a Fatboy Slim.
Tong.
Pete Tong, yeah.
Boy Tong.
He got power, and I'd love to hear him drop it. Maybe
Yeah.
even, and I suppose Westwood wouldn't be able to put that in. I know he's more of a hip hop guy, but yeah. So I mean, if you at any point ever hear I Could Eat a Knob at Night, the remix at any kind of club event, let us know. We'd love to hear about it.
Yeah.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Well, now to one of our most popular features. I mean, this could even rival Monkey News one day. It is Monkey News. It's it's news from the point of view of a monkey, a shaved monkey. It's Carl Pilkington's diary.
Oh, he's written it down, yeah.
Was that the jingle, or were you just just annoyed about something? Okay. Went and did the podcast. We had a meeting after. I don't like meetings as I can't keep focused on what people are talking about. I think Ricky has the same problem as after 25 minutes he was trying to wrestle me. I tried to do what spiders do and stayed still as if I was dead. But Ricky just stayed on top of me, not moving. A bit like when you see one of them big snakes swallowing a sheep. Ricky got bored and released me. I went home thinking, why had I left my old job for this? A homeless man asked me for some money, but I didn't feel like I should treat him as I felt that he'd probably had a better day than me.
Oh God!
Suzanne called me to say she'd gone for a haircut and that she'd meet me in the supermarket. I went to the supermarket, but she wasn't there. I called her and she said she was near the fruit aisle. I went to the fruit aisle and she wasn't there. Turns out she was in a different supermarket on the other side of town. And if I'd listened to her properly, I'd have known that. I didn't want to say that.
Well, you just went to the first supermarket you thought of, as opposed to listening to what supermarket. I'm in the supermarket. All right, bye.
I didn't want to say that I hadn't heard her properly because my ears were ringing a bit from the wrestling from earlier. 25 minutes later, I met up with Suzanne. Her haircut wasn't that bad. Normally her haircuts are followed by an argument between us as she pays over the odds for some daft haircut that's the latest style.
Brilliant.
I wish she'd take a picture out of a magazine or ask for a style rather than letting the hairdresser do what she wants. I said I only tell her to do this as she's got a square head and a close cut hairdo makes it look squarer. She said, what do you think of this cut? I said it looked alright as I couldn't be bothered arguing about it. It's weird writing a diary. I don't know who thought of doing one of these first. The last time I did one was at school. They used to get you to do it so they could keep an eye on whatever you were up to. My diary used to say the same thing every night. Got home, went to the shop to get potatoes, bread, milk. Went home, watched telly, went to bed. I think I might have gone to Twiggy's Dance Club just so I had something different to write. You've not told us about Twiggy's Dance Club.
It's just, you know, I sort of, when I was a kid, I sort of gave everything a bit of a go. I did boxing and that, didn't I? Gave that a go.
About 45 minutes.
And yeah, a mate sort of said, oh, you know, you're into your dancing, your robotics and that. You're doing your body popping, right? Body popping and that. He said, you ought to come to Twiggy's. And I went there, but I didn't go in. It was shut. They were just having like loads of toilet rolls delivered. I think like they were like using it as a storage place for toilet rolls and that. So I said, oh, I've come to have a dance. And like, oh, not tonight. Come back tomorrow. I never went back.
Brilliant. What a waste of an anecdote.
Brilliant. Just to recap, you're convinced then that the teachers are asking you to keep diaries so they can keep tabs on you. And then to continue the diary, as there were more problems happening on the estate, they started to add Saturday and Sundays to the school diary to keep an eye on what we were doing at the weekend. I struggled to fill it on a Sunday as the shop I got potatoes and bread from was shut on a Sunday. I had to go over to Shepherd's Bush to meet someone. I got the tube. There was a badly burnt man on the tube. It's amazing how the body can continue through quite a lot of bad stuff. It got me thinking about how much stuff you could remove in your body, one by one, without dying. If it was a competition, the cockroach would win, as it can live for a week without a head.
I just mean, like, say if, you know, they run out of ideas for TV programmes and that, right? They get someone who isn't well. They go, look, do you mind if we make a programme on you? And what they do, they sit them in the bed, and they go, right, what we're going to do now is take out the heart, but replace it with a pacemaker. Right,
No. Sorry, people with pacemakers don't have their heart taken out and a pacemaker popped in.
Alright then, some sort of machine. What I'm getting to is...
Have you been playing Operation?
What I mean is the big finale would just be a head chatting with loads of wires going into it, and it's like, look what we can do with science.
That's what the programme's called. It's the same every week. The volunteer is just a head with loads of wires coming out.
Look what we can do with science.
And he's going,
goodbye. Got some post delivered to me today. It was... Oh, this is
This
great.
makes it in the diary.
Got some post delivered to me today. It was addressed to Mr. Dilkington.
I don't know why that's so funny. Oh
I got some post delivered to me today. It was addressed to Mr. Dilkington. I opened it and the first sentence read, "Dear Mr. K. Dilkington, you are one of our most valuable customers." I put it in the bin. Thought I would learn some new words, as Steve always says I don't use enough different words. I read in the Fortean Times that the word "wew" means an ugly female ghost with drooping breasts.
What do you mean?
Is that how am I pronouncing
Who's
that right?
using that word? Who is using that word?
It was just W-E-W-E.
Let's call it a woo. An ugly female ghost with drooping breasts. I think I'm right when I say there are too many words in the world. I don't think I will ever get round to using the word woo. Watched a health programme. Wasn't watching it properly, but heard some doctors say that we only get so many heartbeats in a lifetime, so don't do too much exercise. I told Suzanne, and she said I probably hadn't heard it right. We got talking about death. Suzanne said she didn't like thinking about it. I said she might end up being a woo. I was chuffed as I'd managed to use my new word. I went to the supermarket to get tonight's tea. On the way I stopped and looked in the fishmongers at all the different fish they had in the window. It's like a child in one of those kids' TV shows.
I know!
Mr. Pilkington went to the fishmonger. He stopped and looked at all the fish in the window.
Hello, Mr. Dilkington, they said.
There was a newspaper clipping stuck on the glass about a two-headed fish that they've made in Taiwan. I don't see the point in doing this, as a fish having two heads ain't gonna solve the world's hunger problems, as the head is the bit you throw away. Invent a fish with two bodies, and I'd say well done.
Good point, isn't it?
Suzanne watched one of her favourite TV programmes. I've told her the telly only goes on if there's something she wants to watch. If there's nothing on, she has to talk to me about stuff I've learnt. Like Descartes. Watched a programme on him the other day. He is the one who said something like, "I know I'm about 'cause I dream." Doesn't work for everything, 'cause ants don't sleep. I don't know if I'd like that or not. You don't know if you would like it if you didn't ever
I'm not
sleep.
sleeping. It's just one long day. I don't know how you put up with that. Do you think it'd be a good idea?
No.
Why not?
Because, as you said, it would get a bit boring. You know, your sleep is your rest, your time off. It helps you detoxify. It helps you sort of think things through on a subconscious level. You know,
But don't you ever get it where, I mean, sometimes it's brilliant to have a sleep when you're tired, but don't you sometimes feel
that's
like...
the best time to have a sleep when you're tired.
No, but sometimes when you go to bed and you're not that tired and you're kind of thinking, oh, I'm going to waste some hours of my life now and I'm not really in the mood for this.
Well, that's
thing.
just wishing you had longer on this earth doing creative things. I mean, if you didn't have to sleep, you could spend more time talking to a tortoise than going to the toffee shop.
Alright, just doing a little advert for Friday Night Comedy on Channel 4. I mean, I don't know what you're doing. You might be going out and that, doing something nice, which, you know, if you are, then fair enough, go out. But I'm just saying, if you're staying in, you've got new Green Wing, right, that's nearly ready. Got My Name's Earl, The It Crowd, all funny stuff and that. Don't know about you, but, you know, I'll be staying in watching it, just having a bag of crisps and stuff, so... If you're staying in, put the telly on, do that. If you're going out, go out, have a nice night. See you later.
Well, it's that time again. If you'd give us the jingle, please.
Chimpanzee Day.
Okay, now that surely cannot be fair on anyone's ears listening.
Right, ages ago, right, about the 1950s,
Oh yeah.
there was this gangster knocking about. And do you know, like,
Was he called Hairy Fingers?
do you know, like, a lot of gangsters like to get into gambling and that?
Yeah.
And you know, like all these peers and that, all these mates who are like gangsters and stuff, they've all bought horses, right? Like they take racing and they make money from them and that, don't they?
Yeah.
So anyway, he was like,
Chuckles Seagull was no different.
and he was like, yeah, that's a good thing to get into, like this horse, right? And there's a big race coming up. That's why he's a bit of a last minute.
And the jockey turns up and it's fine. He's a human jockey and it's fine. Excellent. Okay, well that was another podcast.
So anyway,
please listen.
Oh,
next.
there's more.
Oh, go on.
So anyway, this big race is coming up. He's like, I've got to be involved in this because I can make a lot of money out of my horse here.
Choose the jockey wisely then.
So he says to his mate, he said, look, I've got myself a horse and that. He said, we just need a jockey, get someone to sort it out and what have you, so I can get in this race. So
the jockey club.
His mate's like, yeah, all right, I'll have a word and that, have a look round and that, see if there's anyone decent.
And the good thing about jockeys is there's never been a shortage of jockeys because a lot of them don't make the grade. So there's always too many jockeys to go round.
Always too many human jockeys.
Yeah, there's never a problem getting jockeys.
Fine.
Go on.
So anyway, he comes
Was that
back.
true in the 50s as well?
It's always been true.
It's always been true.
There's no lack of jockeys.
So
it's sort of close shot. People are trying to do it and they don't make the grade. So,
but in the 50s, from your knowledge, there was not like in 1951 a shortage of jockeys for just 1 year.
absolutely never. I've known about
Okay,
that.
fine,
I'm quite keen.
Right.
Go on.
So anyway, right. So his mate says, look, I'm having a problem getting a jockey.
Seems like because Ricky's just been saying he's just been saying it's not a problem.
What do you mean? So
Just because the main problem was,
Go on.
a lot of jockeys were aware of this gangster and were saying, I'm not getting involved with this guy. The chances are I won't get paid. You know, he's a gangster. It's not worth
you
it.
would do it if it was a gangster asking you. You'd be scared of the consequences.
So anyway, he's saying, look, don't be coming to me with problems and that, right? I've got the horse. I want it in the race. Sort it out. So they're like, oh, but boss. And he's like, don't give me any of that. Don't
exactly,
sort it out.
they do what he says. So any jockey would do it. Go on.
So anyway, so the day before,
The big race, yeah. Left it to the last minute, okay, but
Yeah.
fine.
and he says, have you got a jockey then? They're like, yeah, but, and he's going, don't worry about it, have you got a jockey? Yeah, but, and he's like, well, look,
He wants to
what-
say, sure, yeah.
So,
they will.
he's saying, has he ridden their horses before and that? He said, well, yeah, he has, but mainly, and he's like, look, brilliant. And he goes, yeah, but mainly in like a
in
circus.
the jung
No, like in the circus and that. He'd worked with horses and stuff.
in the
apparently.
circus.
It's fine.
So he's like,
It's fine.
that's enough. That's all I need to
Oh,
know.
they'd be too heavy because circus people
so-
are quite built, aren't they? They're
He said
pretty
so-
heavier than the jockey because the jockeys are about 8.5 stone.
He said, brilliant. Get him down there and that, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, the race happens.
He didn't want to meet him beforehand. He wasn't worried.
No
about
point. Not
No,
bothered.
no.
As far as he's concerned,
It's all sorted.
he's putting his money on it and what have you.
Yeah.
Sure.
What happened is they were trying to make him put on the jockey outfit,
Yeah.
but for some reason it didn't fit that well.
Sleeves
And that-
too
it was-
short,
it was
legs too long.
It's that sort of problem.
Okay.
So they let him, like, you know, wear his stuff that he wore in the circus and that, because it's comfortable with that. He's happy with it. Do you know what I mean? That's what he's happy with. Anyway, race starts and what have you. This horse straight out of the trap and that, high speed, right? This jockey's got a really big grin on his face. He's loving it, right? Everyone's cheering, going, "Who is this? Who's this jockey?"
Yeah.
It's amazing. Never seen him before, and yet look at him.
But they can see his face clearly.
Anyway, Gangster's happy in that because he's won.
Well, I just want to say the crowd can see the jockey, can they?
What?
The crowd can. I mean, it's
Yeah, but
face
he's
not-
so fast and what have you.
It's a blur. It's all a blur.
He's good at it. I mean, apparently he was
Right.
close to falling off, and people were like, he's gone, he's a goner.
Right.
He's got such a good reach that he managed to grab hold of
Oh,
the
sure.
Good reach. Oh.
And
Right,
but they
so-
could tell he was smiling. They could tell he was smiling, but they couldn't see the detail of his face. Is that right? Just
well,
to clarify that.
it's just blur and that.
Sure,
just
but
saw
they
a
could
big
tell he was
teeth.
smiling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they knew he was happy.
At the end of it, do you know, like the winner sort of rides around the crowd bit,
Yeah.
like, sort of, you know, show off and what have you.
Yeah,
And all the women are there. And, do you know, like women all dolled up at these events?
sure.
They've all got big hats on.
Sometimes they got through on those hats.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Right.
One of the women,
Carmen Miranda was very popular.
one of the women had like you say, fruit and what have you on it,
Yeah.
a little banana.
Right. Some kind of
They're
Cuban
not real.
woman.
They're not real though. The hats. They're
Not real fruit, is it?
No,
Yeah.
of course not. Never.
So
But I don't know who. I thought they wore those sort of kind of Cuban
Yeah, but
entertainment shows. I didn't realise they wore them at events.
even if it's like a big event, you know, you might have a hat with fruit, and it's sort of joke, but it's fake fruit because it would
Yeah.
perish. It
Well,
would.
this jockey didn't understand that. He'd never seen false fruit.
I don't understand.
But why did the jockey suddenly? Why was he so desperate for fruit? I don't understand.
So anyway, meanwhile the gangster's collecting his 500 quid winnings.
Yeah.
Right, he's over the moon.
Yeah.
He kicks off because of this woman with the fruit.
Yeah, I don't understand. I still don't understand where the jockey would go.
Everyone noticed. Jockey, little monkey fella.
Oh, that makes sense. If he was a monkey, that would make sense.
Yeah.
What year was this? Because I want to.
It was 1950s, and that's where the saying comes from about, you know, like in Cockney slang, 500 quid is a monkey. He sort of put, he put a monkey on it, and it all goes back to the time
So
when
this happened in England.
in this country,
Yeah,
in
in
the
England. So
1950s.
someone could well still be alive that we could easily
yeah.
contact. That
Well,
would
that's it.
confirm
We always,
they
you
were
know, there's no
events.
time length on this monkey news. If you've got any, if it's history, you know, if it goes back,
Or if it's
years
made
ago,
up, bullshit.
just send it in.
If it's
to,
bollocks,
If you've got
send
any
it in.
bollocks
If it's
that you
absolute
wanna
bollocks,
send in.
please send it in.
That's this week's monkey news.
RickyGervais.com. Well, that's the end of the 10th podcast in a series of 12. Only 2 more to go. 1 more hour of the drivel that is the thoughts of Chairman Pilkington, or Dilkington, as he should now be known. This podcast was brought to you by Positive Internet. Those great guys at Positive Internet host the world's #1 podcast. It's goodbye from me, Ricky Gervais, Stephen Merchant,
If you want to get in touch, remember it's podcast@rickygervais.com.
and Carl Pilkington.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited. The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Hello and welcome to number 11 in our series of 12 podcasts with me, Ricky Gervais. Hello, Stephen Merchant.
Hello.
And Carl Pilkington. Now, Carl, you have become a phenomenon. Okay? Right. This is a news story that's gone everywhere. It started, I think, in New York, Reuters, and then that's been taken up by every Reuters network everywhere. India, all over Australia, England. Okay, here it is. The headline is, Podcast makes Britain an unlikely internet icon. Britain there, Briton. Okay? Now, this is the story by Mark Egan, and it's came out of New York originally. Unemployed British radio producer Carl Pilkington has become an unlikely superstar by using the medium of podcasting for his bizarre statement about eating an animal's private parts. Remember that?
Yeah, it was more about like that reality show.
Well, it says that here. It was during a discussion on the
Yeah.
Gervais Show about a reality TV show where contestants were asked to eat an animal's penis. Pilkington made internet history while talking about this, it says, right? First, he said he could not eat an animal's penis in the morning because he had a delicate stomach. He then proclaimed, using the British slang for penis, I could eat a knob at night. Okay? His knob soundbite has become so popular that a Google search for I could eat a knob at night yields more than 500,000 listings, okay? Among them are t-shirts featuring the slogan, okay, and Pilkington's bald head. selling for $17.
Why did I have to make a point about your bald head?
I don't know. Why is that getting a little mention?
Wow!
It doesn't matter. See the T-shirt. Have a look at it. I mean, what is bald? I'm not buying one then. It's not going to make any difference. Either you want a T-shirt with me head on or you don't. It's not an issue.
All it says is,
But also,
there are
all-
T-shirts featuring the slogan and Pilkington's bald head. I also liked it when it said, Pilkington plays the village idiot on the Ricky Gervais show. Okay? Now, plays the village idiot suggests that he thinks you're a character. That character being a village idiot. The problem is, the fact that you're not a character, to me, suggests that you are just a village idiot.
A global village idiot.
Yeah. Now,
Just on the websites though, when it said there's loads of websites about eating a knob at night.
yeah.
Have they looked at each website and gone, yeah, that's to do with the podcast?
Yeah.
Or is it just like gays and that saying, oh, I love a bit of knob at night?
It's a valid question.
It's a valid question. That's why you're an internet icon, Carl, because you say things like that. After Gervais mused on the show that the soundbite could be used in a dance remix, it took just a few days for the internet to be awash with songs using the soundbite as a hook. So what do you think of that, Carl?
Is it big in India?
Well, I don't know. It goes around the world. This is a story.
I know, but I
that's
just
showing
can't
the
believe
world.
the problems that if I was in India, I wouldn't be getting upset about someone in London talking about a knob at night with the problems they've got.
Well, I don't think anyone's getting upset in India.
No,
He's
but
just saying that the
it's saying
information's
everyone's- I
spread
can't
to the world.
imagine people walking around India. Have you heard that song, Knob at Night? I can't imagine that happening with the, they're hungry and that, and it's dusty and everything. You sort of
That's
go,
your image of India, is it? They're hungry and it's dusty.
I assume it's, the parts of India that aren't dusty and in poverty. There is a lot of poverty in India, but there is also,
Yeah, but these
it's
parts of
still
the
a major civilization, and the people that live in apartments with computers, they probably might tune in.
But I don't think it's an issue all over the world, is it? Because there's some places where they eat dogs. They'd go, knob at night, not a problem. Might not be a bad thing. You go, why is that out on a T-shirt? I had one last Wednesday. Not an issue. What do you mean? No. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, again, if there are cannibals listening, if there's, in places that you wouldn't travel to, and they get hold of a little laptop and an iPod, and they're listening to that, I can eat a knob at night, then they're going, what's the problem? What's the big deal? We love a knob at night. We love a little knob at night, yeah. Bollocks in the morning, knob at night. That's the rule.
But what about the fact that they're saying you're a phenomenon, a global phenomenon? Because when you were, a tiny little round-headed mank growing up in Manchester, you could not surely have ever anticipated that you would one day be described as a phenomenon, an international phenomenon.
But, at the end of the day, I went to that school, with a kid with a big head and webbed hands. Now he should be being talked about.
Well, maybe he doesn't want to be talked about. If you've grown up with a big head and webbed hands, the last thing you want to be is talked about. He wants to put on
He wants to blend into society.
He wants to put on a bit of a pair of mittens and paint his head like a crash helmet, so people think, it looks like a big head, but it's probably just a crash helmet.
Yeah, and just go about his business.
Yeah.
Unnoticed.
Won't get stopped on a bike or anything.
Yeah, but I say if you've got something that's a bit weird, use it.
That's what we're doing.
That's exactly what me and Steve are doing. We have got something that's a bit weird, and we're using it. And I want to speak to the people all around the world. Thanks for listening. But how famous can you make Carl Pilkington? Are you a journalist? Please write about this. People who probably haven't listened to Carl, talk about Carl Pilkington. Put a little poster up in your window. I love Carl Pilkington. Print a badge. Give it away. Email your friends. Tell one person about this podcast, and let them discover the amazing beauty that is Carl Pilkington's mind.
Right.
Hasta la vista, baby. I'll be back. I'm here to tell you about Friday night comedies on Channel 4. There's 3 great comedies. New Green Wing, it's nearly ready. My Name is Earl and The It Crowd, the great new comedy from creator of Father Ted. Get your ass to Mars. Friday night comedy this Friday on Channel 4. Switch it on. I'll be back. Uzi 9mm. Cause I did it a divorce.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
As ever, Rick, there are hundreds and thousands of emails coming in. People contributing all kinds of stuff, pictures as always, and little video clips that they think might be of interest. And of course, as ever, lots of questions for Carl as well, just to sort of try and tap Question from Jade Ramira. Carl, what would you change if you were in charge of what kids are taught in school? Right, you know, because I mean, your school experience was a bit iffy. You got very bored, didn't you? You got very disillusioned by school.
Yeah. What I'd do, right, is instead of sort of teaching kids about 2 and 2 and that, she's 4, right?
Well done. Show off.
I think they should be asked more questions that make them think rather than something that has just got an answer.
I totally agree.
Right? So
teaching them the quest for knowledge, inflaming their imagination.
But just freaking them out a bit as well. Just going like.
See, I knew that's where it was going. Because as soon as you started talking, Rick, I was thinking you're thinking some of the big existential or philosophical questions. You know, does it mean to be human? What does it mean to interact with other humans? To be a human.
Or teaching them sort of like philosophy on a basic level, that, you know, teaching them the love for learning. So, you know, get them up to a roots level so they want to learn and then they will learn, as opposed to just teaching them facts.
Whereas
he was thinking, freak them out a bit.
Yeah.
No, just like, you know, like I read the other day, and someone sent it in on email, like how there's a dishwasher that's been found on Mars.
Rubbish.
Whoa, what?
But it's not true.
So tell them that.
But it's not true.
Go home and write about it. How did that happen?
But it didn't happen.
Well, it did happen. It was in a science magazine.
No, it didn't happen. There's not a dishwasher on Mars.
Why not?
Because
What do you mean, why not?
how did it get there?
But we're always sending like rubbish out there and that. It's like
Not dishwashers. What do you think the council take it away and they go, where can we put it? Well, the tip's full. Well, where's the nearest thing we can dump this? Mars, I imagine.
No, but the same way that fella who, I don't know, was it 2 Christmases ago when he was messing about saying I can get stuff to Mars and all that. He did it wrong because he did it on like Boxing Day, and I just think nobody's concentrating. No one wants to work on that day. It's kind of like, do you know what I mean? They're going to do stuff sort of half-arsed, aren't they, on Boxing Day? So it didn't really get there, I don't think, but it crash-landed.
What are you talking about? What was he trying to do?
He was sending something up to Mars.
Yeah, that little fella that wanted to get something on Mars, and it got,
globe, you mean?
And it didn't open properly.
Yeah.
It got there, didn't open.
But the thing is, it got there, it didn't open properly. No one's been back to pick it up. And what I'm saying is, we're saying about going to Mars as our next planet. It's a tip. There's loads of stuff that's been flirted up there.
No, it's not.
It's just all like that probe thing is still there, rotting away.
Yeah. So ipso facto, there is a dishwasher on Mars. We've settled that. Why would they have a dishwasher on Mars? Would they take the dishwasher up with the space shuttle in case they had dinner parties? What are you talking about?
I just think they would have a little dishwasher in there. There's a lot of them, tight space. You don't want who's going to do that? You know, that means.
Do you know how much fuel it takes to move a kilogram?
Yeah.
Out of the Earth's atmosphere. So they're going to take up a dishwasher, are they?
Sorry, but what are they cooking up there, Carl?
How many people does it take to fly a rocket? How many people? Tell me how many people.
Well, it's either one monkey with a banana shoot that feeds it, or probably 2 or 3 humans.
Right, say it's 3 humans.
Yeah.
Now there's 3 humans because they need one to steer it, one to like be going, yeah, we're all right.
Yeah,
One to make some hors d'oeuvres.
One to stop at the petrol station to
but
get more.
What I'm saying is, if you're going to start having a sink, then whoever's
They
washing
haven't got
up.
a sink.
I know, because they've got a dishwasher.
He's got you there.
But anyway, I'm not going to go into that. But all I'm saying is, teach kids things about. Say to them, right, when you go home tonight, there was dinosaurs knocking about ages ago. How would you have lived with them? Get on with it. See you later.
Well, they didn't. I've told you this before. You got a lot of your information from the Flintstones and 1 million years BC with Raquel Welch. There weren't dinosaurs knocking around where there were little fellas knocking around in furry pants.
No, but just sort of saying to them, all right then, here's a different question.
Go on then.
Would it be better to have dinosaurs knocking about now whilst we're here? Because I put that in my diary the other day. That when you think about it, there's a population problem.
Yeah.
There's too many of us.
Yeah.
We're saving people all the time. No one's allowed to get injured anymore. You've got to, wear a helmet when you're on a bike. There's speed bumps to slow people down. Zebra crossing. Cures for illnesses. No one's dying anymore, right?
Well, I think they are.
Not as many as they should be because the world's crowded. All I'm saying is
there's still people dying. I think there's still people dying.
Not that many though.
Yeah, I think there's still millions of people dying.
Apparently, a handful.
Loads of people are living longer, and that's a problem.
So you feel that you should introduce Tyrannosaurus Rex into, say, London, just have him wandering around, just picking people off.
That's what. Just sort of random and that. Because I don't know. I mean, I'm not wishing that anyone I know dies and that. But all I'm saying is, I don't know anyone who's died for ages.
Right.
Whereas if a dinosaur was knocking about, you'd go, Neil's gone missing.
Yeah.
And
Laura's had her head bitten off by a...
Whatever. I just think then it is survival of the fittest, which is, we've lost all that now. You don't even have to be fit to survive. They just keep sticking a new lung on you. Or know what I mean? They can do too much now to keep people going.
just keep sticking a new lung on you.
Question from Kevin. He says, Carl, other than the famous boxing match that you've often talked about, I know that took up about 20 minutes of your time, have you ever been in any other kind of fight? I don't suppose a slanging match. I think they're talking, have you ever been in a physical fight?
Once that I can remember. It was over a woman. Well, a girl. That was at school.
Yeah.
And it was because, like, it's hassle, innit? Right, relationships when you're younger.
How old were you?
About 7.
It was over a woman.
Go on then. Yeah, go on.
And there was this girl knocking about who, you know, she was quite good looking, everybody liked. And my mate, he really liked her. And I didn't sort of ask her out on that, but she just sort of took a shine to me and stuff, right? And didn't really go out with her properly. It's at that age where going out with someone is just like sort of going, alright, in the morning, do you know what I mean? You just sort of nod your head.
Yeah.
And that. Anyway, there was some sort of school disco. And they were playing Spin the Bottle or something, right? And I sort of wandered over to see what was going on. And I stood on this girl's dress and put a hole in it. And she started crying. I was like, oh, I can't be doing with this, right? You know, what's up with you? It's old, what's up with you? And everyone's going, Carl, what are you doing? That's meant to be your girlfriend and that. You should be sort of saying, oh, I'm sorry, and giving her a hug and all that, and saying it'll be alright, we'll sort the dress out. I said, oh, I can't be dealing with this. No. Right? So she's crying her eyes out. I said, it's over, right?
Oh, it's over, you saying, right, in the morning. Yeah.
No more of that.
Yeah, there's no more. Right. In the morning.
So I go to the toilet, right? And this lad who fancies her comes in and goes, you're out of order, you know. I'm saying, what are you on about?
So there's 2 7-year-olds. Yeah, you're out of order. Keep out.
Cut it out. Show her a bit of bloody respect.
Sorry, were you wearing trilbies?
Yeah. He put his cigarette out in the sink and he just said, leave it.
Get out of my face.
I just sort of said, look, why are you getting involved and all that?
Yeah.
2 7-year-olds. Yeah. Why are you getting involved?
And it was obviously like because, you know, he fancied her and that. We had a bit of a fight in there.
Yeah.
I accidentally, you know, sort of chipped his tooth on a sink. Right?
Wow, is it like a proper...
Sorry, this is like something from Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? 2 7-year-olds in a toilet.
So you put a hole in her dress. I don't know how that... What were you wearing?
I just
Football
stood
boots?
on it.
How did you make a hole in her dress?
I don't know. It was like that sort of material.
You were
like,
wearing winkle pickers.
like crepe. You know what I mean? It was like a crepe dress or something.
Yeah.
Right.
And that got a hole in it.
So you're having and when you say you're having a fight, I mean, are you wrestling with it? You got arm locks,
a little
and
bit
head
of
locks?
wrestling and shoving about and that, and it was an accident. I didn't sort of go right, I'm going to break your teeth or anything. It's just that I happened to push his head down, and his tooth hit the sink,
Right.
and it chipped and what have you. After that, like I sort of left there and stuff, and we had to go into assembly, and there was a copper in there doing some presentation saying, "Listen, kids, you know, don't get into trouble, because we're out there and we'll get you." Right, so sort of try to teach the kids young not to get into any trouble and stuff. So I'm sat in the assembly room thinking, oh god, there's a copper here talking, and like my mate's going to come in a minute, like with a chipped tooth and everything. And
Questions are going to get asked.
that's what kind of happened. I mean, the coppers didn't get involved.
Yeah.
Did you turn your back on violence after that then?
Yeah. He said you'll never take me alive, copper.
So yeah, that was the sort of last fight.
Brilliant.
The Ricky Gervais Show on Guardian Unlimited.
Some of the questions coming in now, Rick, are just, I don't know what they're intending, what response they're hoping for, really. This is one from Rob. He just says, I was just wondering, what are Carl's views on the human appendix?
What do you think, Carl? What do you think of the human appendix?
Never worried about it.
Well, no, I think Rob's point is that it's sort of pretty redundant now. The appendix used to be an organ that was packed with these enzymes that help break down things like cellulose, but because of our diet now and because cooking and other things, we don't need to eat a lot of cellulose. We don't eat very, very low grade things like rabbits, for example, huge appendix and cecum, and they use it to break down cellulose. They actually eat their own feces to get it through again, but we get a lot of nutrients out of food now. We eat very rich food, so we sort of don't need the appendix. And also, when something goes wrong with the appendix, if it bursts, it can infect you and you can die from it. So sort of what's the point in having it? We don't need it, and it can only cause us harm. That was the question, I think, that Rob was putting to you. So now what are your thoughts on the human appendix?
So this is kind of what we've talked about before, where
He always says that. He always says something like, "Oh, we've talked about," and the thing that